I am Samir, based in Dubai, and I've got 4 Airbnb properties here. Things were going great, a lot of tourists, a lot of bookings, and good money overall. But right now, war has actually started nearby. Israel and Iran are exchanging missile strikes, the US is involved, and even though Dubai is calm right now, it's definitely part of the buzz. Here's the latest. As we speak, there might be a ceasefire coming into effect. The US and Qatar have to set it up, and Israel said okay from what I saw on the news. But Israel has also an history of not always sticking to these deals. So right now, what are the probability of this holding? Maybe 50% or less, I don't know. Meanwhile, on social media, people are already posting that they are cancelling their trips to Dubai. My family from different countries are texting me asking, are you alright? Should you leave? And that kind of worry, that scares people. Not just me, not just my family, it scares the tourists too. When people get nervous, they cancel their trips, and when the trips get cancelled, it's bad for the business of Airbnb hosts like me. So just to give you the scale, in Dubai we have approximately 25,000 Airbnb listings. That brought close to $700 million last year in revenue, and tourism makes up for about 12% of the Dubai economy. So yeah, if this ceasefire doesn't hold or things escalate again, that could really shake the short-term rental scene here. So in this video, I will break down what's happening, what it means for Airbnb hosts like me, and how we might handle what comes next. No fear, just real talk, so let's jump in. Alright, so before we go deep into the Airbnb stuff, let's just talk about what's going on in the last 2 weeks in the Middle East, because it's been a lot. First, Israel hit Iran in a surprise attack. Then Iran is back. Airspaces got shut down. Countries like Jordan, Iraq, even part of the Gulf had to close their skies just to avoid any aircraft getting hit by accident. Then the US stepped in and they bombed Iran. Iran responded by bombing the US base in Qatar. And while a lot of this last stage with the US and Iran responding back has been mostly for show, meaning that there has not been a huge number of casualties and everyone is trying not to go full World War III yet, it's still bad. It's bad for people and it's bad for business. But now here's where it hits closer to my home. So I live in Dubai in the UAE. And the UAE has a US military base in Abu Dhabi, which is about 1 hour and 30 minutes away from where I live. So if this conflict keeps escalating and that base somehow becomes part of the action, then we are not just talking about tension in the region anymore, we are talking about something happening in the UAE. And if that happens, that's not just news headline, that's a serious blow to the safety perception that the UAE has built over the past decade. Investors have trusted its place because it felt stable. Tourists came here because it felt calm, modern, and neutral. But all that confidence, it can disappear in a matter of days if people suddenly feel that Dubai or Abu Dhabi could be involved in a war. For investors like us, that could mean cancelled booking, loss of income, and the long road to recovery. That is the context that we are working with right now. Here is an example of the impact of the war on the Airbnb business. When the conflict started between Israel and Palestine in October 2023, especially around Gaza and the northern border, bookings dropped massively, even in safer cities like Tel Aviv. And according to AirDNA, the occupancy in Tel Aviv fell by 50% in a single month. That's half of the bookings gone just like that. We cannot compare apple to apple with what's happening here in the UAE, but what we can take note on, it was not always because tourists were in actual danger in Israel or Tel Aviv, it was because they didn't want to be near it. It's the perception that mattered. So the short-term rental is what gets hit first and the hardest. So why am I telling you all of this? Because Dubai might feel safe, and honestly I believe it is, I live here, but none of that matters if the world perceives it as being too close to the action. We are just a few hundred kilometers away from Iran, people hear Middle East conflict and they lump everything together. That's just how people think. So based on all these past examples, we already know what happens next if this war keeps heating up. Tourists will cancel, the bookings will drop, Airbnb income will dry up. So it will not matter anymore how nice your listing is and how strong the market was before. Airbnb will react to fear, not to the fundamentals. So yeah, when you're investing in short-term rental, it's not just about the location, it's also about the perception of the stability. And Airbnb is one part of the economy that takes a hit first when people feel uncertain. How is it going to impact the money side of the business? So let's talk about the obvious things first. So when the tourists cancel, your bookings will drop. And if you've got loans or mortgages, you are still paying the bank whether your place is booked or not. So that's the risk. Most Airbnb investors in Dubai, like myself, we are paying monthly payments based on the idea that we will have a steady cash flow from the guests. But now if we go from 90% occupancy to 30% overnight, that's a big gap. Again, is this going to happen? I don't think so. We are not at this stage yet, but if things escalate further, it may be a possible outcome. So I want to be prepared for that. So now, what do hosts usually do when bookings dry up? Some of them will switch to long-term rentals. Instead of renting by the night, they will try to lock in 6 months or 12 months tenants just to keep cash coming in. The problem is if everyone does the same thing at the same time, the rents will get pushed down and now the long-term rental market is going to crash too. It's a safety move for sure, but it's not always a profitable one. It depends on your loan terms, your property type, and how flexible your setup is. So yeah, if you are an Airbnb host or you are thinking about becoming one, this is a kind of moment where you ask yourself, am I ready to adapt if things slow down for a while? Because short-term rentals are amazing until there is a war. So what to do as a Dubai Airbnb investor? Let's be honest, at this stage, there is not much you or I can do about what's happening with Israel, Iran, the US, or any of that. These decisions are being made by governments and military leaders, and we are just along for the ride. But what we can do is stay sharp and stay proactive. If you're a host or investor right now, this is the time to start thinking ahead and not just panicking, but making smart, calm adjustments. For example, if you feel that the short-term demand might drop off, you can pivot now. You can lock in a long-term tenant for 6 or 12 months to just cover your cost. It might not be the most profitable decision, but in uncertain times, the profit is not always a priority. Some investors will look for stability during those times. Another option, and I've seen people doing this already, is to sell off 1 or 2 units to free up that capital and wait. Sit on cash, wait for the market and reinvest once things settles. Is it worth selling everything? I think no, because the conflict will end, things will get better, maybe in a matter of weeks or months, could be years too. We don't know. But sitting with a bit of cash on the side could become an opportunity later as well. If property prices get really impacted by the conflict, you could buy at a discount later. Now, if you are sticking with the short-term rentals, and honestly, I still am for now, then you've got to be more active than ever. So you start optimizing. You adjust your pricing more often and even daily. You can add monthly discounts to attract remote workers or longer stay guests. I would recommend also to make sure that you list on multiple platforms like Airbnb and booking minimally. And make sure that you message your guests faster, you offer flexible cancellation, and you build trust. In a slow season like in Dubai right now, especially one that is driven by fear, the guests will book with the hosts that make them feel safe and taken care of. And that's it. That's the game for this summer. So yeah, we are not in control of what's happening politically in the region, but we are in control of how we respond to it as a business owner. So can Airbnb in Dubai survive a regional war? Technically yes, but it will probably not escape untouched. To be honest, at this stage, I'm not yet scared for my life, for my safety, for my family in Dubai, but I am scared for my Airbnb business. So what it means is that for this summer, we will try to attract longer-term tenants. We'll make sure that we adjust the prices to stay competitive so that we stay booked. And for you, if you are thinking about buying in Dubai right now, this situation could actually work as a bargain chip. Sometimes where things get uncertain, like right now, the sellers might be more open to negotiation. So if you're ready and patient, you might be able to get a good deal. You just have to be careful and know what you're doing. The bottom line is stay smart, don't panic, and remember that this kind of stuff tends to come and go. It is very much possible that in a few weeks or few months, everything will go back to normal. But in the meantime, I just want to be prepared. Alright, so if this helped you at all, please hit the like button. And if you want to stay in the loop with what's happening here and you want to get tips from an investor in Dubai, especially during times like this, please subscribe. I do weekly videos on Dubai real estate investments from an investor point of view. Also, I would like to hear from you. Whether you are a host, you are an investor, or you are just curious, please drop a comment below and let's talk. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe and I will see you in the next video.